Hey there, everyone. So I have a subscriber question answer for you. If you don't know, something we do on, or I do on One Rental at a Time channel here is I love to answer subscriber questions. So if you're watching this, you're interested in real estate investing, buy and hold, flipping, wholesaling, just being a private investor, whatever it is, and you have a question, feel free to leave it in a comment below. And I'm the only one that looks at these. So if you have a question, I will look at least once a day. And there's a very good chance that if I know the answer, I will create a video around it. So, on to today's subscriber question. So, I got a question from a subscriber, actually a long term or a long time subscriber, saying, hey, your videos seem to be kind of geared towards folks in their 30s, 40s, and 50s that have a W-2 and are looking to get their first or next rental property. I think that's fair. Obviously, that's our story. If you've read it in One Rental at a Time, right? We were busy professionals, and we built a portfolio over time that we were able to exit the rat race with. But his question was, okay, do a video or give us your thoughts about being retired. You're in your 60s, you don't yet have a rental property, and you have a 10-year horizon. What would you recommend? So, when I got this question, the first thing I went to is I thought about my mom, right? She's in her 60s. She doesn't own any real estate. She is retired. And I was like, okay, what questions would I have for her? Excuse me. So the first thing I would ask her is, Mom, what do you want at the end of 10 years, right? If 10 years is your horizon, what does that look like for you? And I see one of two answers. One is, hey, I want to own more real estate free and clear, right? I want to own one, two, four, set rental properties free and clear at the end of 10 years. And I'm happy to pay a property manager to manage them. I don't mind the capital investments that occur once in a while, but I want to have four, let's just say four, because we talk about that on this channel, four properties free and clear at the end of 10 years. That's one answer. The other is I don't want to own any real estate. I want to be in a position where my investments in real estate have produced extra net worth that I could sell off, kind of grow the nest egg, and maybe do seller financing, maybe exit that way. But basically, at the end of 10 years, I don't want to be a landlord. So that's the first question is, hey, are you okay being a landlord with a small number of units at the end of 10 years? Or do you want something to produce more income, right? Either seller financing or selling and moving the cash around or whatever. So that's the first question. What do you want at the end of 10 years? The next is kind of what is your risk tolerance, right? Because, you know, real estate, if you look back historically, has its ups and downs. And 10 years is long enough to not clearly see what's coming, right? Could we have another real estate drop? Could real estate fall 10% or 15% in 10 years? It could. Nobody can sit here and tell you they know. But the question is, what if at the end of 10 years, the properties you bought in year 1 through 4, were worth the same or maybe 10% less? What would happen, right? Would you be in a position where you would have to sell and take a loss? Would you be willing to hold them for another 5 to 8 years? Because real estate comes back. We've seen it, right? The depth of the recession to now, it comes back eventually. So can you hold on, right? Is 10 years like the drop dead date and you can't, right? And you, for whatever reason, you don't want it anymore, and hence a down cycle could hurt, or could you hold on longer? Because again, markets fluctuate, things change, and I'd want to feel good that I understood my mom's intention at the end of 10 years. So I want to understand the fluctuations. Then I'd want to understand what's the percent of her nest egg that she's putting into acquiring these rentals. The reason I want to know that is because, as I've said many times, unfortunately, bad things happen in real estate. And what happens if, she has these rentals and it's where she lives and there's a hailstorm or, I don't know, somebody's destructive in two of her units in the same month. Does she have the capital where she could deploy 10 or 15 grand unexpectedly? Or is she taking up such a large percentage that she just doesn't have a cushion? Um, I wouldn't want anybody to be in that position where they'd be a forced seller at the wrong time. So again, I guess the answer to all of this is really, really, what do you want at the end of 10 years? If the answer is you want 2 to 4 free and clear properties at the end of 10 years, I think the strategy I recommend for anyone holds. And that strategy is pick up 1 or 2 rentals a year, be conservative, put 30% down, make sure they're cash flow positive, and then in 8 to 10 years, what you can do is you're going to have options. You could take a couple, sell them, and pay off the others, right? Because you've had 10 years of appreciation, mortgage pay down, right? So you have the ability to do that. 10 years is just the cutoff to be able to do that in my mind. 15 years is better, but 10 years should work. The other thing is, if that's not for you, then you should really look at maybe being a private investor, right? Figure out who's out there that you trust. Do you want to be part of their program or whatever it is? And be the investor, so you don't have any of the risk of being a landlord or a flipper. But you've got to be really, really, really careful with that, because you can lose, especially in a market where more markets could turn. So there's lots of risk out there. So for my mom, what I would tell her to do is, Mom, if you want to have a couple of houses, in 10 years that are free and clear, let's get on a strategy to buy 4. Let's buy 1 a year for 4 years. Then just that's it. You're done, Mom. Right? You've paid off, or you've got your 4 by 2024. Then in 2029, 2030, we're going to look at your portfolio. We're going to take 2, sell them, and we're going to pay off the other 2. Right? That would be what I would try to do with her. So I think that's a great strategy. If you don't want to own rentals at the end of 10 years, you could actually take those 4 and sell them perhaps on owner financing with a wrap. Again, you could sell 2, pay off 2, and sell those 2 on seller financing, right? Just literally being the bank. So you would certainly have options. The strategy, again, with 10 years is get all of your activity up front, right? In this case, your first 4 years. Then manage those 4, right? Mortgage pay down, inflation, all of that. And at the end of 10 years, you're going to have some options. So hopefully that makes sense. That's what I would recommend to my mom in this case. I thought that was a good way to tackle this question, because everybody's in different situations. Let me know what you think. Again, if you have a question about real estate investing, leave it in a comment and I will do my best to answer it for you. Thanks.